I've had the ASUS ROG Strix Fusion 500 on long-term test, and I'm ready to share my experience with a USB headset. The Fusion 500 is a middle-of-the-range offer on the Fusion lineup, slotting right between the Fusion 300 and 700. The headset has a built-in DAC and amp to power the 50mm 38-ohm drivers. That does mean the Fusion 500 is exclusively a USB-connected device. There's no analog input for your phone or devices that don't support USB audio. Here's what comes in the box. The headset itself with protein pleather earpads, hybrid earpads which are pleather on the inside and perforated cloth on the outside, a 2-meter braided gold-plated USB cable, documentations, and that's about it. A closer look at the headset reveals a micro B USB port at the bottom, the button to toggle surround sound on and off, more on that later, the microphone boom that automatically mutes when in the stowed position, and finally the multimedia controls on the surface of the left cup. My first concern is the fact that the USB cable is simply too short for desktop use, as most people would have their tower sitting on the right side of the desk. And the USB port on the headset is on the left, leaving you with two choices. Either leaving it hanging in front of you or lay it across your mousepad and keyboard so it's not in the way. You may think the first option is great, but it gets in the way if you're the type of gamer to use wheels and joysticks like me. When you're using a laptop, it's not so bad since you're most likely gonna have a USB port on the left. The listening experience was excellent, with the 50mm Neo drivers with relatively clear highs but lacking in the low end for my preference. All my listening tests were done with a flat profile on ROG Armory, as I dislike having audio I'm listening to be EQ'd or distorted. Then we come to the earpads that come with the Fusion 500. They are, in my opinion, too thin to be comfortable for long-term use. The first 30 minutes of use, my ears were already hurting, and changing over to the hybrid pads didn't help at all. That's because the part that hurts is the tip of the earlobes touching the drivers. So a solution would be buying third-party earpads like this Brainwaves HM5 Angled, which are compatible with the Fusion 500. Sound quality is not compromised, and if anything, it sounds better with a bigger soundstage and better noise isolation at the same time. Clamping force is average regardless of what pads are used. 7.1 surround was a complete disaster in my testing, and I couldn't get it to work with any combination of software, hardware, and game settings. Most I got was a weird echo and distant sound which was unbearable. The microphone is good and completely usable in gaming and VoIP, just don't expect to use it for voiceovers. Now you're listening to the boom mic on the Fusion 500, and this is without any modifications on Armory 2 software. And here it is with perfect voice on, which is the only option I find worthwhile enabling to try and improve on sound quality. Then finally there's RGB, which is sadly only single zone on both cups, which you can sync up with Aura Sync and therefore your entire system. You can also use the Aura headset app on Android to change and sync RGB effects between multiple headsets, which may be useful for you. I don't know. So in conclusion, I have no problems recommending the Fusion 500 for avid gamers looking for a Aura compatible headset. If you're getting it, just make sure the stock earpads are comfortable for you or prepare to shell out a couple pesos more to get third-party earpads. That's it for now, see you next time.